Hey folks, welcome to another podcast episode on CodeStories. The name of my guest is Akash. Akash got his master's degree in computer science from Technische Universität Berlin and is currently working as a software engineer with a focus on iOS development. Akash is also a co-organizer of two co-learning events in Berlin, the legendary meetup group called Swift Dev Ninjas, which I'm also part of as a co-organizer, and another meetup group named Open Tech School, with a focus on front-end web development. He will provide an inside look at the project he's working on, a brief talk on the state of software development in India, and a short conversation about the never-ending debate about whether you need a degree in computer science to become a successful software developer. Stay tuned. Akash, welcome. How are you doing?
Hi Nathaniel, I'm doing very fine. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you very much. What have you been up to?
I have been learning Objective-C right now.
Wow, Objective-C.
Yeah.
The things everybody is running away from.
Yeah.
iOS developers are running away from Objective-C and you are running to Objective-C. How is that the case?
Yeah, it's a different story because when I started iOS development, I was learning Swift in the beginning. So I was going through the programming courses like a boot camp and then reading other Apple development courses online and then it was more Swift. But when I changed my job to become an SDK engineer for
What engineer?
SDK engineer, like
SDK. Oh, all right.
yeah, it means like
kit.
a software development kit engineer. So for developing mobile SDKs, for iOS you have an iOS SDK, Android you have an Android SDK. For Unity you have an Unity SDK, like a package that you can use. So, but like React and other cross-platform applications, most of the things are still done in Objective-C. So that's why I have to learn now Objective-C more because of my current job. So, and we are still supporting right now iOS 9.
Oh, okay.
So that's why we have to do most of the programming in Objective-C. And yeah, I think because of the industry trends, we are doing, we did not move to Swift UI yet because of supporting iOS 9.
Yeah, it starts from 13, right?
Yep. So that's the reason we have still UI kit. So Objective-C is there. But every time there are new developments in Swift, but due to the interoperability and backwards compatibility with Objective-C, you can still write things in Objective-C.
Okay, so how's it going?
I would say in the beginning, it's a bit tough. It's a different programming language and paradigm. So I have to take some help also from the senior iOS developers at the current company where I'm working and relearn C, C++, some parts, and starting Objective-C. So yeah, this book, I just got it from library, like Objective-C in 24 hours.
All right.
So
But you're not going to learn Objective-C in 24 hours from reading this book, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, 24 hours is more like 24 chapters in the sense. So,
all right.
So the idea is like you complete one chapter in 1 hour or something like that. So that's the reason when it is done, I think it's pretty old publication. The second edition was the last, I guess, in 2014. But I would say it's kind of still relevant because as a software development kit engineer, you try to develop the basics from the framework, from the UI kit and everything, more in network protocols and just showing images and videos, which is a lot. But to understand, okay, you have a limited amount of storage. Yeah. So that, how do you do it? You need to learn Objective-C.
All right.
The fundamentals. Yeah.
Great. But I think it has also help you learn more about the iOS development, let's say, environment, right? Learning.
Yeah. It's like learning the history of iOS, like why things are built this way, like what was the reason behind the history to know about this. Yeah, that helps to understand. Like if I want to continue surviving with iOS, then yes.
Great. Yeah. You also a Swift Dev Ninja, right?
Yes.
We first met at a meetup, at our meetup, Swift Dev Ninja, with Anthony, and we decided to keep the meetup alive together as organizers. And so how's that been going, actually? Because you're the the person that's most active right now in the with the meetup. I have a lot of stuff to do. You have a lot of stuff too, but you also decided to, to make sure that the meetup is still alive. And thank you very much for that.
Yeah.
And so, how has that been
Welcome.
going with the meetup?
I think the ground idea for when we started the meetup was the lack of co-learning for Swift. So that's why we started, and it was Swift co-learning and became Swift and Ninjas. So from 2008 in July, we started it out of nowhere, just by meeting online at the meetup.com at Open Tech School meetups. I think it's a good way. Like I met a lot of people. I met you, I met Anthony. Otherwise, I would have not met any one of you or other developers that I met. And it helps to motivate you. So when you're starting your career, again, you're going to a new platform and you're starting at a level 0. You don't know about anything. And if you kind of meet people who are in the middle of it or already started from the first iPhone or something like that, then you know, okay, so how do I learn it? Like your fears and all your feelings of going like, okay, I don't know this, like look at the size of these books, even the iOS Apprentice or other kind of books, they look huge. Then you think, okay, can I finish it within 6 months or 1 year? Can I get a job? All these fears will go away by just meeting other people, talking to them and doing your hobby project. So I was having an hobby project. So going there, doing a little bit. Sometimes I don't have anything. I just go there to see what other people are doing and learn just from the presentation and learning and solving their problems.
Great. Yeah. And I also always enjoyed your presentations. Some of them were like, good Lord, where did you get this information from? You were doing some, I don't know, you were trying to run your Xcode in some, I don't know which machine you were trying to run Xcode on. We were all looking like, just get a MacBook. Come on, what are you doing?
I think that was a fun experiment. We were trying to learn server-side Swift. So we were not trying to run Xcode on other OS. We were just trying to build the Swift library, the framework that was given. I think the foundation one.
Yeah.
So, and Windows has like a compatibility option that you can run the server-side Swift. So that experiment was like kind of like, okay, can I still use the Swift library like in Linux people are doing and developing websites? So how about I just try with Windows and see? It was good success, I would say, but I wouldn't advise people to go in that path just because you have to do some more extra code. I mean, sticking with a Mac is kind of easy way. But if you are like an Linux user or Windows and you don't have money or budget, I would say go this extra mile. Yeah.
All right. Great. All right. Let's talk about your background. So where did it all begin in tech for you?
I would say like in my +2 or intermediate that we call in India.
What is called?
12th class.
3rd class, okay.
Or intermediate.
All right.
After your, I think in Germany it's called Abitur.
All right.
Yeah. So it's the end of your schooling, like high school year completion. So we are playing at that time a lot of games. So I was playing San Andreas and Prince of Persia with my friends. I don't have a PC. We used to go to a cafe and pay per hour just to play the games. Then I thought, okay, I am interested in gaming. So let's learn how do they make. Then I thought, okay, the only way to make games is like learn computer science and engineering. So then I started my bachelor's with computer science. Yeah.
And in India, computers software development is huge, right?
Yes.
I think many people see computer science, software development, computer engineering as, let's say, something that can help them come out of, let's say, poverty, come out of the slums. And that's why there are so many, one of the reasons why there's so many software developers from India, people who knows that this is, for some of them, it's like do or die, right? Either I know how this is going to work or I'm going to die here. So, and how was that experience for you? I don't know how you lived in India, but did you had contact with people who were in this situation where they was just like, I need to do this. I don't want to stay here. I want to move forward.
Yes, because I think due to the economic situations and there are other things going on, and software engineering was kind of like a highest paid job at that time. Like you just complete your bachelor's and just start getting into the industry, and then you start with a decent pay, I will say. At that time, I think the biggest motivator was Satyam and other companies like consultancies like Infosys and others who are employing a lot of people in these IT jobs, and they were also getting projects from US and other companies. So that was the motivating factor, like having a huge service sector and to employ people. And there were many engineering colleges which just started just because of that, because the boom and the idea of huge demand. So that was the main reason. I think I know a few people, like for them it's this is the only way to move themselves forward, because we don't have a pay structure like in Germany you have that kind of helps you in your education, or if you're going on a poverty, to lift you up. So that was not there when I started in 2008 my bachelor's in engineering. So right now things are changing a little by little, like a slow improvement. People have an understanding and it's moving forward.
Okay.
Like that's what we say for development, right? Everything is a slow step.
Yeah, exactly. And when it comes to things like boot camps, do you are boot camps also like? Is it also in India? Is it something that's well known in India? Is it something that's well represented in India?
I think before boot camps, people used to go to programming courses like Learn Java.
Oh, okay.
So there used to be because I come from Hyderabad, from India. So in this city, there used to be a separate place. Like I would say, like in Berlin, you have a Warschau Straße for music and concerts and events. Something like that. We have Amirpet in Hyderabad, which has more coaching centers and a lot of programming. So this bootcamp idea was not there, but there were courses like you go on training for 6 months or 3-4 months. You kind of learn the basics and then you are there. But I think the new trend, started somewhere like 15 or 16. I would say introduction of boot camps. Now there are boot camps also in my city. I don't know about the other places, but yeah, this trend is going on.
Great. That's good. Good for the people, right? Because I don't know how in India how expensive the colleges are. Do you pay a lot of money for college?
I think it depends. Like in Germany, you also have like a private and public colleges, right? So public colleges, you just pay like semester fee and you're done. But in also India, it's almost like that. But the semester fees is kind of huge for private colleges. For government, it's affordable.
It's affordable. Also for people who doesn't have much.
There are some new schemes. Like when I started, there was a new prime minister from my state. So he gave some schemes that could help you pay for your college for your 4 years. So you just have to pay the nominal fees like examination or some things, but most of things are covered.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And for bootcamp part, it's a little bit cheaper or it's the same?
I would say it depends on individual cases. Like every bootcamp is kind of pay for what they serve. So for my example, I was doing the iOS bootcamp from Udemy. Which I completed slowly. I would say almost a year, I would say. Like not to have an illusion. Like you could, if you have time a lot, you might complete in 6 months or less. But for me, I was working partially, making the KS switch. I have to do every day a little by little. So I was doing it online. Yeah.
All right, great. And you also did a Windows phone development, Android, and also Android.
Yeah.
And you also even sometime in your career, you're also a QA engineer, right?
Yes.
Can you tell us about all these switches?
Sure. So I think in my bachelor's 4th year, like the last year, the final year, so there was this Windows Phone training going on in my college. So I attended it, I became part. So there was a startup company, EduConnect. So I joined them.
Is this Educator?
EduConnect.
EduConnect. I know another Educator or something. Also
it's
from India.
Yeah, yes. It's a small company. I think now they were doing more in training courses, and they were a Microsoft affiliate partner. So in education programs. They're going to colleges teaching people how to do Windows Phone development back then in 2011 and 12. Yeah, and Windows 8. So I joined them as an intern. I learned the Windows Phone development. I learned further how to develop, and it also helped my thesis. So I was doing a Windows Azure, like a cloud development for my thesis. So from there, I was doing Windows Phone development, and slowly, because it's C#, and Windows 8 was introduced at that time, so it's almost similar. So then that's how I ended up in Windows ecosystem. But after that, I came back to Portugal, where I worked for a company via Tekla for some time as Windows Phone programmer. Then I was in Germany, taking vacation, time off for 3 months, figuring out what I want to do in my life. Then I said, okay, now do some masters. So I was at TU Berlin and went to them. Okay, what should I do now? They suggested me a course. I joined. Then I was working as a working student in Berlin companies. That's how I started with QA. And I think it's called Wir kaufen dein Auto right now. So there I work for as a QA engineer.
Wir kaufen dein Auto.de.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. I sold my car there recently.
Nice. Yeah, I think it was a good company, but because I was in Windows Phone development and I wanted to move forward in phone development, then I thought, okay. Then I got a chance at a mobile company in Berlin, mostly into advertising. So I joined this company and I was doing solution engineering there. So then that time I was going to Android Meetup in Berlin. So there I learned Android development. Then I started in this company doing like small projects, integration projects, mainly about the product. So that's how I learned Android. But after my master's in computer science is finished, then there was this dilemma, like what should I do? Because there was also at the time, there was a layoffs, and there was an Adobe Air engineer who moved to iOS at that time. Then I was thinking, okay, iOS, I don't know, but I was introduced to how to use a Mac in this company. So they gave me a MacBook. Then I learned how to use it. Previously I was using more in Windows Phone. In the other development, I was using Windows machines. Sometimes I used Ubuntu for the Linux one. So that's how then I thought, okay, now let's think about iOS. Then I started to talk to people. Then I moved forward with iOS development.
Great.
And then all started with Swift and Ninjas, like to find out. Yeah.
Okay. And having experience in all these fields, what would you recommend someone who's looking into mobile development? Would you recommend Windows, iOS, or Android?
I think
is Windows even still is it still around?
It's gone.
It's gone. Okay.
Yeah, I think they introduced discontinuation after I think Microsoft bought Nokia after it didn't work out.
Okay, so
yeah. Now it's only two.
Okay, forget
it's Android or iOS.
iOS. Okay. And you decided to move forward with iOS. I think because the company you're working for demands iOS development, right?
Yeah, they also have Android development, but at that time, what I saw the situation, I think my manager at that time was an ex-iOS developer. So he was doing Objective-C projects and Swift slowly at that time. So he was also inspiring at the time. So that's why I moved forward. Then I saw it's almost like a better trend, I would say, in a way, because at Windows, I saw, okay, they introduced a new platform, but they quickly change. They are a bit agile, like they don't support quite long. They abandon the system and say, okay, after 4 years, this is a new thing. But at Apple, what I saw is like they continue to try to support, I think, maybe for 6-7 years. So if they are going to change, they change it very slowly. 3-4 years of transition period. Okay, this new thing is going to come, like switching from Objective-C to Swift. The switch is not done yet, but the transition is slow. Like in past 4 years, what I've seen is like they're slowly importing new frameworks, adding it on top, and preparing people saying, okay, you know Objective-C, but you should also start learning Swift. This is the future. Yeah.
All right.
This approach, I would say, when you want to switch it to a platform, think about your long-term goals and interests. how long you are going to sustain in this platform, and about also your learning curve, because not everyone can learn things at a very small amount of time. Some people take 6 months, 1 year or 2 years to learn something. So I would say, depending upon your learning curve, choose a platform, stick with it. I mean, after learning Android and iOS, I would say everything seems fine. You think, okay, both are almost mobile development, and the OS have different things. They offer different stuff, different product. I would say for Android, you have a lot of devices that you have to support, different screen sizes, a lot of change. If you can handle it, go for it. If you are like, okay, I want to have like limited amount of screens, a stable development, I would say go for iOS.
Great advice. Thank you. And you also participated in some hackathons, right?
Yes.
Would you recommend people who are new into software development to participate in going to hackathons or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would advise, I mean, if you have time for 1 day, or at least I think some hackathons are 6 hours or 12 hours, some are like a 24 hours hackathon. I think the last hackathon that I participated in Berlin was about a transportation. They were looking for a green transportation goals. It was a mobile boot camp, mobility boot camp. I don't remember the proper name right now. It's almost like 3 years back. There I went there, and so this hackathon was happening. So Intel came with their Edison chips. So it's almost like Raspberry Pi. So we are going to develop an application that you can use Intel Edison. So at that time, I learned how to program in Arduino. And then later I used it in my thesis also. It helps, like learning a new programming language helps in one way. It's a good investment. You can have like 1 or 2 years later. Yeah.
Great. And did you came out first?
No, we could not win, but the good participation was I met new people, was to know like how people think. It's like every time you meet a new person, how do they react to things? How do they think? It changes your perspective. You become more a pleasant person slowly, thinking, okay, things does not go how they plan. They keep on changing, more adaptive. And when you meet new people, you make new friends. Yeah.
Great.
That's why I would say like hackathons, meetups, the social networking. That's the better. I mean, you can do everything online by sticking to LinkedIn or meetup.com, but this in-person way of meeting people, I would say is better.
Yeah, definitely. I fully agree. So you did a bachelor degree, computer science degree.
Yeah.
And then after that, you decided to do your master's, right?
Yeah.
You also did that. And so right now there's more or less like an underground debate if you should go to college to become a software developer, and if a bachelor degree, someone say, okay, go there, bachelor degree is okay, master's is like over the top, it's just too much. And I know people who are going higher than the masters, going towards a PhD, and and so from what you've experienced, you were there in college, you've seen the curriculum, you've seen the subject, you've seen what they teach you. Do you think it is necessary for you to have that experience to become a software developer?
I would say it depends upon your financial situation, how much time you have. That's the main thing. It's about your individual case. If you have the time and money, go for the traditional approach. Go to a college, enjoy the college life. I mean, it's not about studying. You meet new people, you play football with them, and enjoy the life and learn software engineering there, and also the computer science. Like why people developed it. Like going to a college, learning things, you would also know the history behind it, and also know how things you should be doing, and you become a better professional. And this is kind of a slow approach, like taking 4 years of your time. But when you're young, like 17 or 18. You have a lot of energy, and I won't say, and you have money to spare and time.
I'm in my 30s right now. Would you?
Yeah,
2 kids.
like I would say it depends on the time. If you're young, and
Are
you
you
have time.
Are you saying I'm old or
No, not like that. Like I said, depends on time and money always. Most of the decisions that we make in life. So if you have time and money, go for the traditional approach. And I think in Germany, it's kind of nice. The government tries to support you. The companies tries to support you.
Yeah.
They have the Ausbildung programs, I think apprenticeship, and also the governments try to fund you a little. I won't say not much, but everything is fine to help you. But if you don't have time and money, go for a boot camp or an apprenticeship, because boot camp will be done, I think, 3 months or 6 months, depending upon the one that you choose and how much time you can dedicate for it. Or if you think you cannot afford that, or if there is no support from the state, I would say go for the Ausbildung program. I think it takes 3-4 years.
3 years, yeah.
Yeah. Then every day you learn how to do the job. You have some theory and practice. You get some money just to pay your rent and your transportation and food. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Great.
But I would say, like, even after I did masters, I'm still learning. It's a never-ending process.
Okay. So so you believe that even after having a master's, you're still in a position where you don't think you know everything, or you still have to actually build something that's that's on the market, that people actually really use, for you to gain, let's say, the real experience, right? Because in college you do a lot of sandboxing and things that are not, like, people are not really using out there. And when you're actually in the industry, and there's pressure, there are deadlines, and things a little bit different, right? And when you're working in a team also, I mean, in college you also work in a team. I guess you have maybe friends, but when you're working in a corporate, you have a team, and you have different people from different departments. You have QAs, you have designers, and you have to be able to communicate with them, which is going to be the next thing we're going to talk about.
True.
And
what I would say is, like, it's a changing environment, like every industry. So you need to adapt to the change. So if you are not able to adapt to the change, it becomes kind of tough for you to survive in the industry. Because right now you are developing for something people are not using right now. They might use it in next year or sometime later, or it may not even see the light. But that is not the case. You have a goal, a vision for the product that you have to develop. You understand how to develop. You go on. So, I mean, if you like developing things, it's always fun. I mean, you also get the incentive benefit of getting paid. That's the other thing. But the most important thing is you're able to enjoy doing the job.
absolutely.
So, developing with different people, different teams, you get introduced to strangers. You slowly become friends. You try to talk with them, be mindful of your language, and collaborate with them, and do programming, sometimes pair programming when it's possible. But mostly, compared to other jobs that does not require much investment, software engineering, it requires a lot of investment from your side. Even after the work back to your home, sometimes you have to read a new article or look at a new event, what's happening, watch YouTube videos. Sometimes I just watch unboxing videos to see, okay, how a new iPhone looks like, or an iPad, just to motivate myself. Okay, this is the new things.
You're always trying to stay in that context, right?
Yes.
To have your mind surrounded by elements that comes from that environment. That's good. That's great. And the next thing I would like to talk about is technical skills. Not enough, right? I think you already working for a few years now.
Yep.
in software development, you've also noticed that it's more than just being able to code.
True.
Yeah.
I mean, the technical skills, you require them in order to do the job. You don't have to be an expert in the field in your starting time, but slowly, when after some times, people expect you to become a person who knows how to do this thing. The expertise is like becoming a senior engineer and lead, and to tell other junior engineers how to motivate them and to work. So that part, I mean, no one is perfect. They don't know everything. They just know few parts of things. They try to become perfect that they use daily. So this incremental kind of thing is like, don't be afraid, I would say. I mean, technical skills are just the way for you to pass the interviews, but how do you collaborate with others? The communication skills is a key. Even if you, at the starting, you don't know how to communicate with you properly with other people.
Can I jump into that quick? Just the technical skills. It's also for you to pass the technical interview. That doesn't mean that you're going to get hired, because that's something completely different. Because I like recently experienced someone who had the technical ability to be part of the team, and this person was really good technically. It was like over the top, really good, but the other part wasn't that good. So sorry for interrupting. Just want to put that in.
I could understand. I mean, there are many kind of people. Like you have introvert people and extrovert. Some people are shy to talk. Some people are more energetic. They try to talk with people on every topic or point. Some people like, okay, I don't know how to talk. This is a strange person. So it depends upon what kind of person you are. But I would say try to talk to the people. I mean, you don't have to talk about your personal things, or they just like, how are you doing? It's the first thing. People are saying like you're good or bad. Just trying to know your mental state, that they can do something. If you're not feeling well, let's talk about it tomorrow. That's how we try to talk with people, right? So this communication is kind of important, because we have more planning and then talk how we are going to do this work next week. So in general, in development, it's like you have sprint planning.
Exactly.
So in current company, we follow Scrum. So they just try to discuss this, the task in the job with all the team. If you don't understand it, you try to talk about it. People try to clear about it to you. At that time, if you fail, you're going to face difficulties when you start the task. Then you're trying to ask, then people try to say, okay, but we talked about in the planning. You should have asked these questions. Why are you not paying attention at that time? So some of these things come up. But in generally, like if you don't know, if you're stuck in your task doing something, you need to know the right person, how to talk to them and explain. Because right now you have to explain the context of the task. Because right now, for example, you're doing something, I'm doing something. In the middle of your work, I just come, okay, this thing is not working. How do I know what you're doing? I have to tell you, okay, I'm trying to do this, I'm trying to achieve this. I am stuck here. So the other person needs to know how to explain this to you. That's, I would say, communication, not to imagine it like a big public speaking stuff. Just to explain like what's going on in your mind, tell the other person in understandable way.
Communication is very important. Like you already mentioned, like agile principles we are applied in our daily job, and we have Scrum and Kanban, and just knowing that every day you're gonna be having a stand up. This was something I didn't had any experience with stand up before starting working for my current company. The previous company I was working for, there was no agile principles there, and you just come to work, do your work. After that, you go home. Come to work, do your work. After that, you go home. So when I started working here and seeing stand up, you have to like talk to your colleagues every day, talk about the things the tickets you're working on, if you're facing any blockers, if you need any help. And it was a little bit confusing to me at the beginning, but later I realized how important it is. and I also had to, let's say, sharpen my communication skills, because before it was just me doing my job, going home, and starting from scratch again. And now I have to be able to tell someone in a very clear and precise fashion what I'm doing, right? So that they understand it, and also that also shows if I really understand what I'm doing, if I can tell someone, ask someone the right questions, and tell someone the things that I'm working on. And yeah, that's very important to communications. All right.
I mean, in the starting it takes some time, but you get used to it. It's also more, the stand-ups are for improving your teamwork, because as a team you try to make the whole team successful, and you're not thinking as an individual.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that brings up your team spirit up, keeps your motivation up. Going to the job, they feel, okay, today I'm going to do something to make and achieve. These are small achievements, but they make you happy at the end of the day.
Great. Thank you. We're almost done. The last thing I would like to say is, where can people reach you?
I mean, I'm everywhere on the internet.
All right.
I mean, I would say the best way is you can, for professional, you can reach me on LinkedIn.
LinkedIn, all right.
Something quick, or you can reach me on Twitter. And yeah, if you are in Berlin or if you are in Swift, you can also join the Swift Dev Ninja Slack group and talk over there.
All right. Yeah, so the Swift Dev Ninja meetup group is not dead. So we're still here, and because of Corona thing, it flattened down a little bit. But hopefully when this thing's over, 10 years, when thing's over, we can all meet again and share our experience, share our skills.
True.
And I'm just gonna leave the link for your LinkedIn profile in the video description, also for our meetup, Swift Dev Ninjas. Thank you, Akash, for taking your time. Thank you for being my guest.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, thanks for inviting. Yeah, this is the first time that I'm doing an interview.
All right. Okay, thank you very much.
Cool. Thanks, man.
Yep. Bye.
Bye.